Hi and welcome back. This is lesson 7, rates and average. I'm talking about measures of central tendency as well. First you need these two definitions down. First definition is the definition of a rate. A rate is a division relationship between two measures. Okay, so it's how two different things relate to each other. So let's say that I travel 50 miles in 2 hours. Okay, that is a rate. Okay, this is a rate. 50 miles for every 2 hours. It's a division relationship, so I got my division bar between two measures. My measures are miles and hours, so I'm comparing two different things. So I drove 50 miles for 2 hours of driving. A unit rate is a rate where the second measure is 1. So my second measure here is 2. Well, I can change this rate that I wrote up here so that it has a second measure of 1 by simplifying this fraction. Okay? Well, 50 divided by 2 is 25 miles. So 50 miles for every 2 hours is the same as 25 miles for every 1 hour. Okay? This is a unit rate because this bottom number is 1. Okay? So a rate compares two things, and a unit rate compares two things, but one of the things has to be 1 specifically. Okay, let's go to some examples with rates. Alright, now when we solve rate problems and unit rate problems, here's your steps. Okay, make sure you get these written down. And if you need to pause the video and then listen, do that. Step 1 is to name the two units in the problem, then set up a proportion. Okay, there's going to be two units, maybe like miles and hours, or feet and yards, or something like that. Okay, then fill in the unit rate. We'll talk about what that means. Step 3 is to fill in the other measurement from the problem. Step 4, draw the loop around the two diagonal numbers. Step 5, multiply the numbers in the loop, then divide by the number outside the loop. Okay, I'm moving on the video. Again, if you need to pause and get those written down, do that and then catch up to me. Okay, so got the steps up there again for you. Let's go to the example. It says, driving at an average speed of 55 miles per hour, about how far will the driver travel in 6 hours? Alright, so again, let's circle things that we know. An average speed of 55 miles per hour. We know they travel for 6 hours, and we want to know how far will they travel. Alright, so step 1 says name the two units in the problem. Well, miles per hour, that means I've got some miles and I've got some hours. Then set up a proportion. The proportion looks like this, like when you solve for the percentages and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Then it says fill in the unit rate. Okay? Anytime you hear the word per, like miles per hour, typically that means it's going to be the unit rate. Okay? This means 55 miles per 1 hour. Okay? 55 miles per 1 hour. So I'm going to put that here. 55 miles, my miles go on top, because that's where I put them in the labels on the left. And then per 1 hour. That's what 55 miles per hour means. Okay? Then fill in the other measurement from the problem. Well, the other measurement tells me 6 hours, so that's got to go on the bottom. Okay? Then I put a question mark up here. Okay? And the problem, we got to make sure this matches up with the problem. The problem says, how far will the driver travel? Well, that's going to be in miles. Okay? Because miles tells me how far. Alright, so draw your loop. Loop-de-loop. Alright. And we're going to multiply the numbers in the loop. We got to do 55 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 6 is 30. Plus 3 is 33. Okay, so I got 330. Then I divide that by the number outside the loop. Well, that's just 1. So 330 divided by 1 gives me 330. Then I need my label. My label needs to answer the question, how far? Well, it wouldn't make sense to say, if I asked how far, I wouldn't say 6 hours. So I got to label it in miles. Okay? So it's 330 miles is how far we drove. Okay? Let's go on to another example. Okay, for example 2, we're going to do the same sort of thing. Okay, so again, read the problem. Heather finished the 100-kilometer bike race in 4 hours. What was her average speed in kilometers per hour? Okay, so again, let's circle what we know. We know she finished the 100-kilometer bike race. We know it took her 4 hours. And we want to know her average speed in kilometers per hour. Okay? Well, let's do step 1 here. Name the 2 units in the problem. We've got kilometers and we've got hours. Right, those are our 2 units. Separate proportion. Now it says fill in the unit rate. Remember, for a unit rate I told you to look at that word per. So find the word per. Well, this says what was the average speed in kilometers per hour. So I don't know what her average speed in kilometers per hour was. Okay, but remember, per hour means per 1 hour. So I'm going to have 1 hour, I know that. And I don't know her kilometers. I want to know her kilometers per hour. Okay, so I don't know that one. Oh, then we know on the other side that she rode 100 kilometers. And that took her 4 hours. Okay, next step, we're going to do the loop. Nice loop there. Alright, multiply numbers in the loop. 100 times 1 is 100. Then we need to take that, divide it by the number outside the loop, divide it by 4. 100 divided by 4, if you don't know that off the top of your head, 4 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 10 twice. 4 times 2 is 8, and I subtract. I'm going to get 2 and then bring down the 0, and 4 goes into 25 times. Okay, it's 25. Now, normally up here we would put whatever rate we needed, or whatever label we needed. It says kilometers, but this says what was the average speed in kilometers per hour. So they're telling you they want you to put the average speed in kilometers per hour. So, kilometers per hour, kph. It's a good abbreviation. Alright, okay, let's go to the next problem. Okay, then here we go with example 3. Example 3 says traveling at an average rate of 58 miles per hour, about, it's a big word, about how long would it take a car to travel 20 miles? Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the problem here. We know the car is traveling 58 miles per hour. We know it's going to travel 20 miles, and I want to know about how long. Okay? Well, let's fill in the 2 units in the problem. I've got miles and I've got hours again. Okay? Step 2, fill in the unit rate. Again, for unit rate, we look for that word per. I've got 58 miles per hour, which means per 1 hour. Okay? Now I want to know how long is it going to take the car to travel 20 miles. So I'm trying to figure out how long. Okay? Well, I'm going to slide this up a little bit here. There's a very big word in this problem, and it's right here. About is a big word. What about tells us is that we can estimate. Okay? We can estimate this if we want to. So I got to look for numbers that I can round. Well, 20 is already an easy number to work with, but 58 isn't. Okay, so think about what you could round 58 to make it easy to work with. And that'd be 60. So I'm going to change this to 60 miles per hour. Again, because it says about. Now let's think about this. There's another way that I could say 60 miles per hour. Okay? There's another way I could say 60 miles per hour. And I can make that in like miles and minutes. So 60 miles per hour is the same as 60 miles per how many minutes? Well, in 1 hour there's 60 minutes. Okay, so 60 miles in 60 minutes. Well, those 60 and 60, that can reduce. Okay, 60 divided by 60 gives me 1 over 1. So basically what we're saying is that that car is traveling 1 mile every minute. Okay, 1 mile every minute. And that's big to know because 1 mile for every minute is pretty easy to work with. Okay, so if I travel 2 miles, that's going to take me 2 minutes. If I travel 3 miles, that's going to take me 3 minutes. If I travel 5 miles, it's going to take me 5 minutes. So I'm going 1 mile every minute I drive. So think about this. How long would it take for you to travel 20 miles then? Well, if it's 1 mile for 1 minute, 2 miles for 2 minutes, 3 miles for 3 minutes, it's going to take me about 20 minutes. Okay? 20 minutes to travel those 20 miles. So I didn't even really have to do any multiplying or dividing or anything like that. That's my answer right there. About 20 minutes. Because I'm traveling about 1 mile every minute. Okay? Alright, let's go on to another example.